Hello my friend, welcome to my studio. In this video you'll see how I usually paint portraits using wood panels and oil paint. I'll give some explanation how I design the image and work on the colors. Let's dive in. I usually work on panels. They are produced by different manufacturers. My favorites are gesso boards by Ampersand or Da Vinci wood board. They come in different sizes and finishes. I usually use medium texture panels that have the gesso applied to them. There is a rare instance where I buy a clean wood panel and then apply gesso over it. It just takes more effort. Wood panels are very sturdy. They don't fluctuate or bend like canvases do. Like if you live in a humid climate, you shouldn't paint on canvases. There is a big advantage to canvas because you can paint very large. It remains quite light in comparison to painting on panels, but that's the only disadvantage to using the panels. I use a variety of oil paints. Usually it's Gamblin, some Winsor Newtons, although I don't like them anymore. I think they've been cheapened by a lot. I also like natural pigment, Michael Harding, and so on. Also, it's very difficult to find very good brushes for oil painting when it comes to line detail. And I really like Calibri brush and also a variety of brushes manufactured by Rosemary and Company in the United Kingdom. By the way, they deliver brushes to the States for a very reasonable shipping rate. I'm not an affiliate, I just like their product. As far as oils go, I use a refined linseed oil by Gamblin, and I also love the Sennelier brand. They manufacture excellent art materials. So now let's turn to painting itself. Before I begin painting, I decide on the overall color scheme and the mood of the piece. In this instance, I wanted to create a light mood. A lot of color combinations are right in front of me. I'm inspired by the ocean, the colors of the ocean, and the surroundings in Florida. One of the easiest ways to come up with the color palette is to go on Pinterest and type in color palette in the search bar, and then you'll see a great variety of color cards arranged in specific color schemes. This will give you a ton of ideas where you can take your art, and you'll see color combinations you couldn't have thought of. So this is the place to get you started. Next, I'd like to add a few words about color and color intensity. If the color is pure, it's super bright. The beginners paint with super bright colors right out of a tube. But when we look at nature, not everything is bright. So to dull some color, you can use grays or complements to make the color less color intense. I usually test my colors and mix them on a separate piece of paper, trying to match the color that I want to see. I use the palette knife to mix the color. I start with the original bright color, let's say blue, and then I add some white to it and see how it changes the color, and then I see if I need to make it warmer or cooler by adding a different color to it. And when I rotate my palette knife and stick it next to my reference, I can see if I have a perfect color match or not. I've designed the color crush course for colored pencil artists, but it will be helpful for oil painters as well, because I go into the detail how to look at color and how to approach mixing it. I design the images in Photoshop. It takes a couple of days to move elements around. To protect the privacy of a person, I'm not showing her face, but that's how it looks like. I set the exact size of my panel, and then I draw images, and then I make a printout, copy that onto my panel, and I begin the underpainting process. The underpainting itself varies depending on the subject, the mood, and other factors. So in this case, I experimented with the underpainting a lot. Basically, I tinted the surface with bright green acrylic paint and waited for it to settle for 3 days before starting painting. I wanted to play with the background, so I started with the acrylic paint, not oil paint. And although acrylic paint dries instantly, the overall chemical process takes 3 days to settle. That's why if you use oil paint over your acrylic underpainting, just remember not to paint on it for 3 days. I really like this paint. This is gold acrylic paint. It looks like gold and it's very durable. You know, I think you can even use it outside. I often use it for my painting projects. Sometimes I paint the backgrounds with it, and it has a very rich gold color. You'll find the link to this paint in the description of this video. I'll also put some other links to the art supplies I often use. I usually use 2 coats of this paint to have a very nice even golden finish for my background. And then I began the underpainting process using a couple of colors, light pink and brownish acrylic paint that I had. When I think of color, I think of the overall mood that I want to create in the piece, and if I want it to be light or dark. And by this I mean how much contrast it's going to have. You know, some artists love to create high contrast pieces, having super dark backgrounds and you know, shining the light on a model. I don't use this technique very often because I want to create a different experience which is less dramatic, maybe, that has, you know, more light in the painting. So I decided that I wouldn't have a dark background, you know, but still have enough contrast to make the face pop. And it required some experiment. Also, I like to premix my colors for every section of my painting, and then it lets me keep everything unified. I don't struggle mixing the same color over and over again because I have several piles, but that's the reason for premixing. You keep your painting unified. It's easier to control the values or tones of the painting. For instance, I premix all my lights and I premix The shadows, I keep the shadows very general. See, they all seem to be of the same color, and I can adjust that and make some of them a little bit darker. This is the third layer of paint, I believe, and where I keep refining the color of the face and just add more detail into the hair as well, and brushed over some paint to imitate little hairs falling onto her face. I painted the crown consisting, or the halo consisting of the golden stars. To paint these shapes, I took one of my rollers that had the templates inside of it, like different ovals, circles, rhombs, and so on. And I basically used the graphite pencil and used that template to outline it on my panel. It was completely dry, and then I used oil paint to define the shapes. To create the texture of the hair, I really like using a rosemary comb brush. It looks like it's missing some of the hairs, but it gives a unique texture to any object that you want to paint. If you paint animal hair, it would be very helpful to use this brush as well. This painting went through a ton of adorations, and I think I repainted the peacock several times before I decided that I was happy with the image. Sometimes it just doesn't work. I kind of work through my problems until the point I see that everything looks good, and every element supports my major focal point, which is the face of the woman, of course. Next, I kept trying to unify the image and blend certain edges and bring all those separate elements together into one piece. And it does require some trial and error to figure it out. I usually step back and look at it from the distance to see if it looks coherent and not separate. To fix the problems, I might add a few hair strands or subtract them or blend certain areas a little bit more. For a long time, the head of the peacock didn't work, and I felt like it was competing with the beautiful face, and I had to repaint the peacock. Things like that are unknown. It's just a lot of trial and error. After a while, you kind of get a sense of what's going to work and what wouldn't work. And here we go. I hope you like my painting, and please go to veronicasart.com and see all the recent art and video courses available for you to take. Subscribe to my email there. I email every 6 weeks on average, sharing my inspiration, art history, and a lot more. And thanks so much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.